If there is a really cool idea, everybody else also wants to do that. How do you protect it? So that's typically what we would refer to as a patent. One can file one's own patent on the CIPC website. That's the Company and Intellectual Property Commission website. It's important to first file a provisional patent. It can cost as little as 60 Rand, but it's very important to make sure that the data that you enter covers the actual IP that you're wanting to protect, the IP being intellectual property. Following that typically lasts 12 months. Following that, one would then have to file a formal patent, and it is important to make use of a patent attorney. So there are a number of patent attorney entities in South Africa. Propella do make use of a number of these entities, and that is always the suggested way forward because they specialize in the protection of patents and intellectual property. Regarding some invention or innovation that would be patent worthy, maybe it would be a good idea to go back to, it was I think 1789, was when Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. Well, I think it was 1879, not 1789. My apologies. Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. At that stage, I think he used something like 6,000 different materials to try and build the filament that was going to give this incandescent glow to the light bulb. So it took a lot of patience, a lot of effort, time, and I guess that also tells the story about a lot of our entrepreneurs as well. But going through that process, it was very clear that would have been then the first affordable light bulb in the world. So there was clearly going to be a great market for that, because prior to that there was something called the arc lamp, and the arc lamp was a very, very expensive device and very inefficient on the consumption of electricity. So the market wanted an incandescent light bulb. There was not one, so clearly when one was being developed, it was the world first. That would obviously make it patent worthy. The most important consideration is if you are busy with something that is very unique and patentable, do not put it into the public domain. In other words, do not share it openly with other people, because as soon as something is put into the public domain, then the uniqueness or the patentability aspect is potentially lost. Because as soon as we patent that idea, it gives us the legal protection to now go out and communicate with stakeholders that are going to help us develop this particular product and or service and to get it into a commercial state. Do not communicate the idea into the public domain until such time that your product is fully protected by means of a patent. But there's a lot of ideas that probably aren't even coming to Propella because there are people concerned about sharing that idea with somebody they don't know at Propella, and how would that be protected? The fact of the matter is Propella's heard thousands of ideas. This is what we've been doing for the last 8 years, and hence we respect anybody's idea and we would guide them through the necessary processes as well, advising as such that it is important for them to at least get their idea patented. Propella do assist in that process, and is something that we would very, very strongly recommend if there is a high degree of novelty or uniqueness about that particular product or service. So once again, if we talk invention versus innovation, invention typically happens in an R&D environment, laboratory type environment. That's research and development, and not all inventions have commercial value. An innovation must have commercial value. In other words, it must be sellable, the market must want it, it should make people's lives better ultimately at the end of the day, and that's the key focus area for Propella, is the commercial value aspects, or improving the lives of people ultimately at the end of the day by virtue of having some of these innovative products. At Propella, the ideas for us must have commercial value, and that's why we talk innovation rather than invention. Invention's not necessarily commercially related or the value pertaining to that. So it is very important then for us at Propella to understand the market value of that particular idea and the effort required to take it through the process of incubation and then ultimately acceleration. So we will follow a set of criteria to best understand the markets, the technical challenges related to that, the human resource requirements, and then making sure that the costs also to get a product to a particular stage are not overly excessive before that particular product is in a position to actually realize return on investment. To onboard any project at Propella, if it is patentable, quite often it's easier to get some funding for that because your funding agents like projects that are aligned to intellectual property. So we do get access to those channels of funding, and as I mentioned, when it comes to doing the interview process or onboarding process for the entrepreneur, it's always important for us to see if there is an element of IP, intellectual property, or patentability associated with that particular innovation.